I was not qualified to be a father. That was the first thought that crossed my mind as I stared down at the softly glowing egg resting in my arms. It was warm, warmer than any bird's egg had a right to be, and faint lines of bioluminescent blue pulsed beneath its smooth obsidian shell like a heartbeat. Across from me, slumped against the scorched hull of her crashed shuttle, the alien woman was bleeding. "Please," she said, her voice thin but steady through the translator implant. "Hold this until it hatches." I looked around the empty plane, as if expecting someone more capable to appear. Someone trained, someone official, someone who wasn't a cargo dock mechanic on a forgotten frontier station. "There has to be someone else," I said. "I don't even know your species." She met my eyes, 4 of them faceted and luminous, and managed something like a smile. "By our law," she said, "the one who accepts becomes kin." Before I could ask what that meant, she pressed the egg into my arms and collapsed. That was how it started. My name is Jonah Mercer, and before that day, my biggest responsibility was keeping freighters from blowing up when their owners skipped maintenance to save credits. I lived on Port Helios, a half-legal trade hub orbiting a dim red star. It was the kind of place people passed through, not the kind they stayed. The alien woman, Salith, I later learned, belonged to a species called the Keprianil. Insectoid humanoid hybrids, ancient, rare, and bound by traditions so old they were written into their biology. She'd been ambushed by raiders while transporting diplomatic data. Her shuttle barely made it into Helios gravity well before tearing itself apart in a crash landing beyond the port's shield perimeter. I was the first one there. Port authorities arrived minutes later, but by then Salith was unconscious, and I was sitting in the dirt holding an alien egg like my life depended on it. They took her to the med wing. They tried to take the egg. The moment they touched it, every warning system in the port lit up. Kepriel biolocks activated. Legal beacons broadcast across subspace. A formal custodial claim was registered. My name, my genetic signature, stamped into an interstellar database older than most governments. The port commander stared at the screen, then at me. "Congratulations," she said flatly. "According to Keprianil law, you're the father." I laughed. No one else did. Salith survived, but barely. Her species biology made healing slow outside their homeworld's conditions. For weeks, she drifted in and out of consciousness while diplomats, lawyers, and curious onlookers flooded Port Helios. The Keprianil were not a loud species, but when one of their eggs was involved, the galaxy listened. I tried to give it back. "I never agreed to this," I told the Keprianil envoy when they finally arrived. Tall, armored figures with ceremonial blades folded against their backs. One of them inclined their head. "You accepted the egg." "She was dying," I snapped. "What was I supposed to do?" "Exactly," the envoy replied. "You chose responsibility over safety. That is the foundation of parenthood." The egg stayed with me. They set up a controlled environment in my quarters. Temperature, radiation, atmospheric composition, all precisely regulated. They taught me what little they could. How to recognize stress pulses in the shell, how to hum low-frequency vibrations to stabilize its development, how to respond if the glow shifted from blue to amber. I slept on the floor beside it. Every time it pulsed, my chest tightened with a fear I'd never known before. Mockery followed. Dockworkers joked that I'd caught an alien disease. Some said I was angling for compensation. Others claimed the whole thing was a stunt. "What happens when it hatches?" one guy laughed. "You changing diapers with acid-resistant gloves." I didn't laugh back, because the truth was I was terrified. Salith woke fully 3 weeks later. She asked for me before she asked for food or reports or weapons. When I entered the medwing carrying the egg, her eyes filled with something dangerously close to tears. "You stayed," she said softly. "I didn't know how not to," I replied. She placed her hand, clawed, delicate, warm, over mine and the shell. "My people will owe you more than words," she said. "But know this, Jonah Mercer. Caprian law is not symbolic. When the child hatches, it will imprint. On you." "Yes. On its parent," she corrected. The word hit me harder than any punch ever had. Weeks passed. The egg darkened, the glow brightening. I talked to it about nothing, about everything. About the port, about Earth, about how scared I was of messing this up. The galaxy watched. News feeds debated whether alien law should be recognized. Commentators mocked the idea of a human playing parent to a non-human child. Politicians argued over jurisdiction. Then the raiders came back. They wanted the egg. They hit Port Helios hard, jamming communications, cutting power, flooding the station with mercenaries. The Capriel envoys fought like living war machines, but there were too many attackers. Ran. Not away from danger, but toward the only thing that mattered. The egg vibrated violently, its glow flashing amber. "I've got you," I whispered, clutching it to my chest as alarms screamed around us. A blast threw me against a bulkhead. Pain exploded through my side. Smoke filled the corridor. And then the egg cracked. Light poured out, not blinding but warm, purposeful. A small, many-limbed shape emerged, eyes blinking open for the first time. It looked at me. And the galaxy changed. Every Caprianel in the system froze. Their biosignatures spiked in unison. The child chirped, extended a tiny claw, and wrapped it around my finger. Imprint confirmed. The raiders didn't stand a chance after that. Caprianel reinforcements arrived within minutes, tearing through the attackers with surgical precision. By the time the smoke cleared, Port Helios was safe. So was my child. In the aftermath, the legal fallout was enormous. According to Caprianel law, and now recognized by Galactic treaty, I was the sole legal parent of the hatchling. Not a guardian. Not a placeholder. Father. Salith stood before the assembled council and spoke plainly. Jonah Mercer risked his life without obligation. He accepted responsibility without reward. If such qualities are not worthy of parenthood, then no law has meaning. The council agreed. I was offered relocation to the Caprianel homeworld. Education support status. I refused. "I want my kid to choose who they become," I said. "Not inherit it." So we stayed on Helios for a while. I learned how to feed a being with 3 mouths, how to read pheromone shifts as emotions, how to balance human instinct with alien tradition. The child Keth grew fast, curious, bright, strong. And everywhere we went, the laughter was gone. People didn't see a joke anymore. They saw a human who stepped up. Years later, when Keth left to walk among both our worlds, Salith visited me one last time. "You changed more than a life," she said. "You changed how my people see yours." I watched my child board the ship, standing tall, carrying both legacies. "I just held an egg," I said quietly. She smiled. "And became a father." And in a galaxy full of ancient laws and endless wars, that turned out to be the most powerful thing of all.